Hi, all lovely souls out there, and welcome back to another episode of Inspire to Rewire. I am your host, Sharona, and for today's episode, I would like to dive into a topic that kind of is close to my heart. It's about the journey home, finding yourself and finding your way home. And when I say home, I mean back to the core of who you are. Back to the real you, without all of the indoctrinations and programs and filters that you have been, I don't know if forced is the right way or the right word to use, but in some type of way forced to carry on, your day-to-day life as you have been growing up. A lot of these filters and programs that so many of us are carrying around, we are very unaware of and are oblivious to. And we think we know ourselves and what we want to create for ourselves and what type of life we want to live. And, in all actuality, none of these things is actually, to the core of what we want because we don't truly know ourselves. We are in a society where so many of us are confused about who we are and what we are. And the most enriching journey you can go on, and the most beautiful and blessing journey, is to go within. But it's very hard to know where to start, and how do you know where to start, and how do you know if you have to start? How do you know if you are not truly yourself? And how do you get to know yourself? And what does it take from you, or what do you need to do to get the understanding of it? To answer that question, I think the first step is to actually ask yourself, are you truly happy in your life? And I don't mean in forces of, external forces, maybe, I'm happy, but my finances is not in order. Or, I would be happy if my relationships would be a little bit different, or I would be happy if I would have another job, or whatever it might be. Once you are happy from within, no matter if external forces is not always in the way that you want them, you will still have happiness within the moment of the now, because you're happy from within you. And the most beautiful thing about this is that happiness can never be taken away from you. No matter if you lose everything, I'm not saying it's not going to be challenging, because it sure will. But it will be challenging in a whole different way and perspective than you might know as of today. Because once you know yourself, I think that the most beautiful way to be rich is actually to be rich in knowledge, and to be rich in the belief of who you are, to the core of you. And I think it's a lovely thing to actually go on the journey of getting to know who you actually are. Sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating. Sometimes it can be a little bit scary. It's like walking on a path of the unknown. But the discovery of that is also very exciting. You get to know and get to learn that you actually enjoy things that you had no idea that you enjoy. Or you get to understand that you want things for you that you had no idea that you want to create. You walk on this journey as an explorer. And you explore who you are and what you want, and no mold that you have tried to fit into before fits anymore, because you're expanding the mold. The mold doesn't even exist no more. So I think you start by asking yourself the right questions. Are you actually truly happy from within? The relationships that you have around you, they are a reflection of you. Do you enjoy your relationships? Are you happy in all of your relationships? No matter how they are and are you happy in your relationships? Do you like your life? Do you like your environment? I think it's very hard to enjoy the external environment if you don't enjoy the internal environment. There is so many ways for us in today's society to run away from, our inner voice and to actually get to know and hear ourselves. It's a very uncommon thing for people to sit in peace today, to sit with your own thoughts, and so you can be able to hear yourself and hear who you are. It's often a constant chatter within your mind. And once you get to understand that you shouldn't judge your chatter, but more observe it, you can get a better understanding of and for what is going on in your mind. And what goes on in your mind often goes on within. A lot of the things, once you start to follow the trace of the thought patterns, you can trace it back to maybe something that has been a problem. You can go back to the root of things and understand why certain thought patterns even exist in your mind. Where do they come from? How did they start to be there? How have you been influenced or affected to have these thought patterns? I know that a lot of us, our biggest critics is often ourselves. We are our biggest judge, and we are very hard on ourselves. I know my inner voice before was so judgmental and so harsh. And once I started to understand and actually pay attention to the voice I had inside of my head, I got a little bit stressed out of how negative I was towards myself. And I didn't know how to calm this voice down. How did I turn this voice into something more positive? How do I start to think more positive about certain situations? But once I started to understand the thought patterns and went to the root of things and actually went in and did my shadow work, things started to shift. And it started to shift dramatically. I started to love my life. And more importantly, I started to love myself. I started to discover a self-love that I didn't even know was possible. I tapped into things that I didn't even know I had within me. A lot of the things that have been knocking on my door throughout my life, I was kind of like resisting, but now I was embracing them because I understood that all of these things was actually gifts that was coming to me. I didn't resist, being unique in my way. Because a lot of the things that I had discovered about myself throughout the past years isn't maybe the norm in today's society. And I honestly didn't even care no more to fit in. I wanted to stand out. I got a lot of different comments from people that thought I was weird or I was a witch and, I was not normal and all of these things. And these things didn't even bother me. I actually took it as a compliment. The journey for me to discover who I am, which I am still on, by the way, I'm still discovering more in different parts of me. I love this journey. This is the most, adventurous journey I have ever been on. And I love the fact that I don't have to be the same version of myself as I was yesterday. What I thought and what I believed yesterday might change to today because I might accumulate new knowledge. Or I might be on a new adventure that expands my mind. I'm not supposed to be anything. The only thing I'm supposed to be is myself in every aspect. My belief system is no longer what other people's belief systems are. I get a lot of resistance in different conversations I have with people because, we're not aligned in how we see the world or what type of reality we want to create for ourselves. A lot of people can even look at me sometimes and think I'm a little bit weird or I dream a little bit too big. And before that used to bother me, and today I don't care. I hope I can inspire people to understand that, you can dream big too. There's nothing scary about this. The bigger you dream, the more you will expand, I believe. The more you will discover, that anything is possible. There is nothing you can't create for you. Meditation has been a great tool for me to discover myself and hear myself and get to know who I am on a day-to-day basis. It's also a great practice as it has offered me a lot of peace. And it offers me a lot of peace in situations I can find to be a little bit stressful sometimes. I think meditation is underrated, and I think that people give up about meditating too quickly. I think people feel a lot of stress when they meditate because they actually get to hear and understand how much their mind is on a rant. Your mind doesn't control you. You can control your mind. You just have to find certain practices to be able to understand how you can control your mind and how you can reprogram it. There are many different tools that we can use as human beings to be able to navigate on the journey to get to know oneself. One is meditation. Another one that I highly recommend also is breath work. There is many different ways of breath work. And, I think that there is so much information out there. I just want to say this. And there's so many great people who, share a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge. And sometimes it's so much information out there that it's hard to, know what to adapt and what not to adapt. And then you try something for a little bit and then you give up and try something new. You just jump from one thing to another. I think a key word here is to be consistent with something, but actually find something that works for you and be consistent with it and persistent. Things develop over time, and over time things get better and easier for you. And don't be so hard on yourself on the journey of discovering who you truly are. And also be okay with understanding that some moments will be confusing. Some moments will be very emotional. And some moments you might stand with one foot here and one foot there. You are shedding skin. You are about to, blossom into a different version of yourself. And it can be a little bit uncomfortable. You can feel a little bit unbalanced. But please, through these moments, have the kindness towards yourself. And, open up your heart a little bit more towards yourself so you can hold yourself within these situations. Because it's in these situations where, growth happens and takes place. But once you are in the moment of change, you are also in the moment of being uncomfortable. And you kind of just want this to be over. But once you are on the other side, if you just in that moment can just relax in it and understand that, a change is about to happen. Because it's often in difficult times, if not only in difficult times, where we actually grow and where we expand ourselves. So in the moment of a challenge and in the moment of uncomfortability, please return to certain practices that gives you peace. And in these moments, maybe surround yourself with people who, is supportive towards you and can remind you of why you're doing what you're doing. And maybe encourage you to see certain things that you might not see because you are just so uncomfortable and so confused and very emotional. And sometimes these emotions and thoughts can take the best out of us, so we don't really see what is clear for others people to see as they are viewing us blossom and, growing into a higher version of ourselves. And sometimes it's nice to get a little reminder from someone else. And it kind of can calm our nerves a bit and give us a little bit peace and tranquility. I think another great way also to explore if you are, true to yourself or through to the core of who you are is, do you often go around with a bad conscience? Do you feel bad about the things that you do towards others and including towards yourself? It can be from a simple thing to saying yes to someone when you actually, in all actuality, want to say no. Because when you say yes to someone else, you're actually saying no to you and you get a bad conscience about it because in all actuality, you really don't want to do it. Or you feel like you have to answer the phone and be available towards people all the time, but in all actuality, you actually don't want to pick up the phone. It can be from the small things to the big things. Do you go around with a bad conscience and maybe have a trait of people pleasing? This is also a great way to understand if you are, true towards yourself and, in the knowing of who you are? If the answer to the question is no, I think that there's a lot of things for you to discover there too. The journey home might be a little bit painful as you discover a lot of pains and wounds that you have within. And you will also understand that a lot of things that you are doing is actually to comfort the wounds and kind of like put on like a bandage over it to just remove the symptoms. But when you do so, you're actually causing more harm to you because you're not really holding yourself within the wounds, as you're not really going to the root of the problem of why the wounds are even there in the first place. So then it can be very hard for yourself to caress yourself within that moment because you don't quite really know it's there. No one can hold you as well and good as yourself, in the places where you suffer and in the places where you have pain. It's very hard to receive something from someone outside of you when you're not receiving it from yourself first. It's difficult to receive it in its fullness if you don't receive it from yourself first. It's in the most challenging, not always the most, but in challenging situations where we grow. Have you ever thought about it, how when you take a cold shower, it's so beneficial for your body in so many different ways? Or maybe when you go to the gym and you have to, do something as progressive overload, and you have to challenge yourself within the weights and challenge yourself within the reps, and it kind of hurts when you do it. Or if you decide to go through a water fast, or you want to break a habit that you are having, maybe you want to start eating healthier. All of these things is challenging, and it takes effort from you to change. And maybe you need to suffer a little bit through it before you get to the other side of the coin or the other side of the grass. But in these moments, even no matter how uncomfortable it might be, because it's going to get uncomfortable, that's for sure. But in those moments, you tap in to versions of yourself that's going to give you power. You're going to get empowered by yourself because you're going to notice that these things, you conquer them and you master them. Some of the things you're going to master and conquer effortlessly. And other things is going to be a little bit more of a fight and a little bit more of an uphill battle for you. But no matter what, these things brings growth to you. It also brings a better understanding for who you are and, depths towards yourself of undiscovered territories that you didn't even know was there. To practice discipline in one area makes it easier for you to practice discipline in other areas. So maybe it's easy for you to practice discipline in the area of maybe eating healthier. It comes a little bit more effortlessly than if you practice discipline with going to the gym. But once you start incorporating and practicing discipline in your life, in one aspect, it's going to be easier for you to conquer it and master it in another aspect. Certain things is easier to practice where it falls a little bit more organically or naturally, or maybe where the will is a little bit stronger. And that's going to stem off to other aspects of your life. The discovery of who you are takes work. It takes effort on a daily basis. It takes you creating new habits for you to discover new ways of you and to discover what you like and what you don't like. Imagine using the world as your catalog as well to understand what you actually enjoy and what you don't enjoy. What is it that you like? Things that you maybe like today is actually things that you actually don't truly enjoy. You more do it because your crowd enjoys it. And you enjoy more being in the crowd. Or you want to please the crowd, maybe. I don't know. But once you start to discover who you are, your crowd won't play as big of a part, or you won't be dependent on your crowd. Whoever comes and goes, it's up to them. It's not going to bother you. You're not going to have attachment issues to the people around you, because you know you're going to be good, because you have you. But to discover who you are takes work. And sometimes outside tools can actually be of a big help. I have used outside tools in form of plant medicine, and I have also used outside tools in terms of certain daily practices. It was really hard for me to start to meditate in the beginning. I really struggled with that because my mind was going 1,000 miles per hour, and it was a little bit stressful for me. For me to go to a vegan-based diet was very, very easy. It has never been hard for me to do that. It was an effortless change. Other people I know struggle a lot with it. For me, it was very easy. You know, we all have different things that is going to be easy for us, and while other things is more difficult. And I think that this is a great way also, to have the people you have around you to maybe give you tips and advice on how they went about it, so things can become easier for you. But I do believe that there is an enjoyment within the challenge that you go through, because the prize feels a little bit better after you maybe twist and turned and fought a little bit for it. Things that come easy is not always as appreciated. I think that a lot of times these things can be taken for granted because it just came like this. But when you fight a little bit for it, or you struggle a little bit forward, and you can stand then and look back at the changes that you have made, it's a very, very, very proud moment, and you feel really empowered and good about yourself. I know that the world would be a better place once everyone started to find their way home. I know that the world would change massively once people started to discover who they truly are, without being influenced and affected by social media or other things that doesn't really want the best for us as individuals. I think also that's a part of the understanding, and gives you a great advantage once you see the matrix and see everything that is done towards you on a daily basis, and how all of these, you're getting attacked from every angle to shape you into a mold or to a form that you don't even fit into. I think a lot of the unhappiness that, is across the globe is because people are unhappy within the box they are in, or they're trying to fit into, because none of us, we might have things that are the same, but once again, we're not the same. But we are the same. But we all have unique things we like and enjoy, and, we all have unique ways of expression. And the better you can find your unique way of expressing yourself and who you are, I think the more and the bigger impact you're going to have on this earth. Finding your gift, and then the purpose is to give it away. But to find your gift, you must find yourself. So I highly recommend that you start asking yourself questions that will lead you to the answer and give you the understanding of who you are and where you are in life, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's the questions that you ask that is going to lead the way for you forward. And sometimes you need to ask yourself one question 20 times to go to the depth of that question. Because sometimes the first answer that comes to you isn't really it's just the surface answer. It lays so much more information under, the first surface level answer. Go to the depths of you. Be fully transparent about who you are and what you like. And don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't be ashamed of what you discover and, what you like versus what you don't like. And sometimes you can even come to a place where you feel very unfamiliar in familiar settings. And it's not that they have changed or your environment has changed, you changed. And instead of feeling sad about it and maybe disappointed, actually feel good, because that means you've grown and you evolved. And you're taking strides in your life to thrive more. And you honestly deserve that. You deserve to thrive in your life, in every aspect of it. And then it's going to be so much clearer for you what you want to do in your life, what you want to work with, if you want to change career, or if you actually enjoy what you do and you want to maybe grow in that field. And how you want your relationships to look, because you have a better understanding of how you want your relationship to look towards yourself, because you're finally getting to understand who you are. Getting to know oneself is key to a lot of other things we might seek in life. I think a lot of us have a lot of questions about the way that we are living and the life that we are living. But once we start to discover and, walk on the journey home towards ourselves, our true selves, to the core of who we are, I think a lot of these questions gets answered and the roads get clearer. And I wish you nothing but a road home to you. I know that God, created all of this in the whole entire universe, including this planet, and none of it was by mistake. All of it was created to perfection in every last bit. And so are you. I know that you are created perfectly just as you are. So I hope that this inspires you to get to know yourself more and discover who you are. Play more. Be more creative. Dare to express yourself in different ways and aspects. Be adventurous in, trying new things. Or taste new things. Discover who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what you love, and what you hate. Hate is a strong word. I don't think dislike is a better word. Try to be more open-minded. And try not to judge yourself. And try not to judge others either. Observe people and observe yourself. Observe your own mind. Be proud over who you are and the creation of you. I wish you a lot of playtime, the time and, forward. I wish you a lot of space and time for you to go within and discover who you are. I send you love and I send you blessings. And I hope that you caress and hold yourself within the moments that is hard. And I hope you give yourself a little bit of a tap on the shoulder or clap on the shoulder for the moments that is a little bit uncomfortable and hard and difficult. Because you are going through them, and I think that you should be proud of yourself. Not everyone takes on the challenges of, going within. And sometimes that's not the easiest road to walk. It can be very, discouraging at times and very hard and very difficult. But I want you to know that I cheer for you. And I hope that, you get to know yourself and become who you are. I hope that you live your life on your terms, because you are not here to live your life as your mom or your father wants you to. You are not here to become what someone else wants you to. You are here to become who you want to become. You are here to live your life on your terms. And whatever you want to do, you can achieve. There is nothing that is out of your reach. The only limitations that you do have is the one that you set upon yourself and the one that you create in your mind. Don't ever let anyone else tell you what you can do, what you can't do, and what you can achieve, and what you should do. Don't let anyone tell you how to go about life or how you should live your life. The only one who's going to set the rules and the laws of that is you. You live your life on your terms. You live your life in freedom as you want to. You are here to create your life. So start creating. And use a broad pencil while doing so. You deserve nothing less but that. I want to finish this off as I usually have started to do with the message from Bob Marley, and I want to keep moving that forward. I in our unity, one heart and one love. We are all one, and I wish all of you blessings and love and gratitude. And gratitude should be your attitude. Namaste.